Good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming to play with my mind, my ideas today. My name is Gretchen Vogel. I've been a channel for 4.5 decades. I've written books, been a medium. My presentations on this channel are my own work. I don't borrow from anybody. If I have a question, if there's something that I haven't figured out yet, I go into meditation and dial up. So I've had some amazing meditations on karma lately. Generally, I can't say it better than they do, but I'm going to start off with just a few things that Louise Hay and I were chatting about in terms of co-creation, which is one of my big questions with karma and co-creating with other people with karma. And I thought I'd bring my angels close by because they're co-creating. No. Anyway, one of the fascinating things that Louise said right off the bat was that we recognize each other's karmic patterns. So we're attracted or repulsed or probably don't care, like if they're we read these patterns. I won't say see the patterns because I've never really seen them, but I've felt them. I mean, I remember once when I was in a grocery store, someone was crowding me, and I don't move very well. My legs don't work all that well. So I was trying to get out of her way because, oh my God, her energy was a lot. And I didn't want to be near it. Also, like if you're on the road and somebody comes up right behind you, I just pull over. I don't, of course, we're here in New Hampshire. There's not a lot of traffic anyway. So whether this was her mood that day or whether these are the karmic patterns that they're basing their life on, their beliefs, their wounded parts that are unhealed. I mean, it really doesn't matter, but we do respond to other people's karma. Personally, I can always tell somebody who's had mother wounding, mother issues in their life. Also, I can always read people who are in grief. And some of these people may be grieving a very old loss that that they're still carrying painfully. So those are two things that, so when my husband and I, in college, I was in his dorm room and I picked up this comb and I said, who is this person? I want to meet this person. Well, I didn't meet him. For 4 years later on the other side of the state, I took a look at him, knew immediately, oh, that's my guy. But it took us a while to get together because we were both involved with somebody else. Anyway, I'm sure that I was seeing our agreement. Now, we've had tons and tons and tons of past lives, but we had an agreement this time that we really wanted to cross the finish line. We really wanted to develop awareness. We wanted to work on enlightenment, even though we didn't really know what that was when we started out. But anyway, the other thing so we are attracted to people with similar karmic patterns, she said, because we're always looking to heal ourselves through other people. So maybe if the other person can work out that pattern, maybe it'll have some influence and we can too, right? The other thing that she said about co-creation, which was really interesting, is that she considered Hay House, the publishing house, I'm sure everybody's familiar with that who comes to my channel, was a tremendous co-creation in her life. And she's very proud of the accomplishments that were created at that time with those teachers and the people around her who supported this goal of hers. And that was her co-creation, but she did not want to co-create in her personal life, on at least not full time. I mean, we haven't gotten that personal, but so I mean, I can understand her wanting her alone time alone. That makes sense to me. And then I started mentioning to her, well, what about people who choose to be single, who choose to not partner in this lifetime? There's something on that that's coming up in this channeling, because I'm going to be speaking another channeling on co-creation. So let me see, was there something else that Louise said that I wanted to? She said, we have a pattern of recognizing patterns. Anyway, I think I'm going to go ahead because I don't want to take a lot of time. This may be a little long anyway. So a little longer than my ones are usually. With other individuals. Oops. Is much more powerful. Okay, so the first line about co-creating is that creating with other individuals is much more powerful than trying to create on your own. So the gathering of will to focus on desired goals in a group, in couples, in a community, is much more powerful in terms of being able to create the patterns and energy that result in the material form. And also I can think of is Tony Robbins and Abraham, the Abraham people. Boy, they get people co-creating in big groups. Anyway, okay. We can see co-creation in nature. This whole idea of co-creation applies to many other species. For example, herds of bison, elephants, the wasps and the hornets that kind of swarm our buildings. But within every species, there is an element of co-creation possible, even within what we would think of as a very solitary animal, like the snow leopards in Tibet. They still need to find another snow leopard in order to reproduce. So, they've got to co-create at some point. We see this in flocks of birds. We see this in how trees propagate each other. We're finding that out through the root systems, how trees support and find comfort in those of its own energy identity. But everything here does. I just dug a ton of daylilies out of my flower bed yesterday. And they're very interested in being with other daylilies. So I'm going to replant them somewhere, and not quite as good a soil, but I don't want to kill them. So I've agreed with my husband where I'm going to move them to. They do take over. Co-creation is so much more powerful than any individual. And this is what humans offer to each other. It's often called support for each other. He was citing the spring in this channeling. Even the spring break parties were a type of co-creation The young people were expressing life, um, happiness, or amusement of some sort. They wanted to see, they wanted to be seen by each other. So they co-created like this giant party. Now they're going to talk about global co-creation. For example, there are a lot of people concerned with the artificial construct that we call currency or money, and that is worldwide. There are individuals whose power of intent is focused on this most abstract of all forms. I mean, if we didn't agree money was money, it wouldn't exist. So co-creation is desirable because it increases the power of the creation of the form. So we think of these forms as being tangible, but a lot of the forms here on the planet are not tangible. All the isms, all the beliefs, the political parties, the religions, these are extremely abstract forms that are created by people. They're saying fear is an abstract form that is co-created by people who may be interested in controlling other people or may actually enjoy adrenaline in their body. So co-creation happens most effectively within species. Let's use a herd of wildebeest. They're just trying to survive, find enough food and water in Africa. And even though you wouldn't think creating in a huge herd big enough to deplete their food supply would be a co-creation, it is. And it's that old phrase, strength in numbers. I think the wildebeest are trying to increase their odds of not being predated or eaten. So I'm asking now in the meditation, when is co-creation a detriment? The answer is coming. It's almost always both what we would think of as positive and negative in different evaluations of events or actions. But as we know, since the expression of source creator origin is simply an outworking of everywhere that forms are created, and this is much broader than what we would think of even as our physical universe. I mean, we cannot even grasp. But the forms that are created through karma are going to be so different in other universes that we wouldn't even recognize them. And I'm pausing because I don't know whether I'm asking another question. Sorry, I don't want to put you to sleep with the pause. Hang on, it's coming back. Co-creation. I'm sorry for the gap. So I ask, is co-creation simply a matter of the willpower of the personality? Because it seems to us to be very tangible, very much based on choices of actions in this manifesting energy. I mean, you get in a car and you go somewhere and pick somewhere up, pick somebody up, that's co-creation. You know, so much of what we do here is co-creating with other species. But his answer is it's so minute what we're seeing here in terms of co-creation. So local, I think, is a really good word for this. Very local co-creation. The whole of the solar system that we perceive is but a speck in all that is. But yes, there's a tremendous amount of co-creation occurring here on Earth because we all agree on what we're experiencing as being real. We agree that these forms and energy are real. Now, there are teachers who understand that even what we experience sensually here, what we take as dense physical materialization, is karmically created form. So now I'm asking, let's see, what am I asking? I hope it's still going to be on co-creation. We've got another answer coming. Okay, they're saying it's the power of the will of the individual that creates the form that one experiences. So now they're talking about diffuse will. For example, people who may have brain injury or mental illness, and they may not be able to focus their creative will. They're citing perhaps the homeless population having a sort of diffused will. But even the homeless who live in camps are co-creating their survival with each other. So there are many different layers or levels. The people who are very good at manifesting are the people who are very creative and have a very strong force of will. So I ask, what's the difference between creating individually and co-creating? And they're saying that we cannot really create individually because everything affects everything else, basically. No matter what we choose to do, it's going to have some ripple or repercussion on what we call the collective now, which includes all species, which includes the earth herself, and every life form and every inanimate form, the earth herself. We do not work in a vacuum here. We can't even have any emotion without it influencing the people around us. So if we're happy, they're happier, right? I recently realized that something that I was doing was making my husband very nervous, causing him fear. And oh, good, the meditation is done. And actually, my guides told me that it's I have Virgo in me, and Virgo, I'm Libra, uh, Libra Sun, Cancer Moon, Libra rising, but I've got Virgo in me. And as you know, Virgos are detail oriented. Let's put it that way. And there were things that I was doing that were making my husband nervous, and my guides told me about that. It's like kind of lighten up. So I know what they mean about our actions really affect each other. One of the things that Louise was talking about was this idea of not partnering during a lifetime, or people who lose their partner, and even though their partner's probably a yakety blab in their ear all the time from the world of spirit, which my husband would be, because he knows I would hear him. I can hear his thoughts, even probably when he doesn't want me to. She was saying that individuals who live by themselves often can form community in which to co-create with. And I think that's why it's been particularly difficult with COVID. I have quite a few women friends who are on their own because we're old enough, if we live long enough, women generally outlast men. Um, and so, Zooming with people, emailing, talking to them on the phone. Now, with the vaccine, we're beginning to hug each other, which is which has been sorely missed. Um, but even people who are on their own co-create within their community of friends, within their local community, within their place of work. So I do think that we're always co-creating. But the people that we co-create with are people that not have similar karma, but at least not um, difficult, let's or challenging karma. Um, my neighbor and I had a falling out, which is still upsetting, and I've apologized to her several times. But at this point, this is her karma, not mine. If she wants to ignore me when she goes by my house walking down the road and I'm standing right there and she doesn't acknowledge me at all, that's her karma. We can't affect other people's karma. We can't fix things for them. We really can't, no matter how much light we bring to a situation. So um, I think I'm going to stop here with this on co-creation. And thank you very much for dropping in to visit. My website is How Spirit Works. I love thumbs up and comments. And I'm not selling anything. I really don't want to put ads on this channel. So in a way, I want it to succeed. In a way, I don't want it to succeed because I don't want to monetize it. And I'm not even sure on YouTube if you have a choice about that. YouTube forces you to co-create, whether you want to or not. All right, folks. We'll see you again real soon. Thank you so much.